All right, guys, I'm gonna be ranking every handheld, PC handheld. Now, I did put Nintendo Switch 1 and 2 in here because I do believe they deserve, even though it's obviously not a PC handheld, some games get somewhat decent specs. Like there was like a price error on Cyberpunk, and I was playing on the Switch 2, and I was actually impressed. And I'm wondering why other games are just so horribly performance, but the developers of Cyberpunk really put in their time and effort into putting that port onto the Switch 2. So, and I have the Switch 1 on here, classic, whatever. Let's go, let's go. I've tried almost all these handhelds, and some of these handhelds I don't even know what they are. But let's get to the most popular one. Xbox LAX. Let's talk about the cheap one, right? You got the expensive one, the cheap one. The cheap one I think is $5.99. It often goes on sale for like $4.99, like open box, right? I'm gonna put this S. I'm gonna put this S tier. Okay. The reason why I'm putting this S tier, the Steam Deck OLED gets similar or if not better performance than the budget Xbox LAX. The only thing that this really has going for it is the feeling, like the Xbox controller. I believe that the Xbox LAX, the new one, has some of the best comfortability in your hand because it's like literally an Xbox controller, right? So for that alone, if it didn't have that, I'd put a D tier. The budget one, which is right here, the reason why I don't put this below in D tier because you could get this. Like I saw this on Facebook Marketplace. Some guy was selling it for $200. Now, granted, I don't know if it worked or not. He said it did. But because it's so cheap now, and you can find this used for super cheap because everybody's trying to sell it to upgrade to the new one for $200. Like that's a steal, bro. You could play a lot of games, even though you're probably only gonna get about like 30 FPS. Um, $200. I mean that's a steal. Like let's be honest too. A lot of these handhelds are gonna tank in value within the next couple years because they're gonna be outdated. Okay, speaking of outdated, um, actually I'm not go there yet. I'm going too fast, right? So next one up, let's go into the Legion Go S. Now this is the Windows handheld. I'm gonna put this B tier. I do not like Windows handhelds on PCs, handheld PCs. I don't like Windows at all. Once you try Steam OS, like Steam Deck or whatever the Steam OS has, and then you go to Windows handheld. Like I remember people like, oh, they would always be hating on Windows handheld. Like it's not meant for it. And I tried it for myself. My first Windows handheld was an MSI Claw 8 AI, right? And I could see why they said that. I mean, I could just go on for days about that, but if you are into the handheld world, if you want to get a new device, one of my best things I could advise you is go with Windows first. Because once you go Steam OS, you cannot go back to Windows. And I know Windows has a lot of budget options. That's the only reason why I'm saying that. Steam OS, once you play Steam OS, you get quick resume. It's so much faster. You get more FPS in your games, battery efficient, things of that sort. So just understand this, guys. Once you go Steam OS, you cannot go back to Windows handhelds. Okay. Now, of course, Windows and Microsoft could do better over time with like Windows 12 and things like that. They can make it more gaming centered. But for as of right now, I would not recommend Windows on a handheld. Okay. Speaking of that, Steam Deck, I'm gonna put Steam Deck at A. I know some people want it to be S, but we're in 2026, and let's be honest, the Steam Deck is really like a 30 FPS machine. The only thing that it has going for it is that it's the value. It's like hands down. Everybody has Steam. Everybody has at least 10 games on Steam. Everybody has a backlog on Steam. So like having the Steam Deck right there puts huge value. The battery life is good. If you're someone who just plays indie games or like games that came out like in 2010, 2015, perfectly fine too. For newer games, anything above 2018, 2020, you're not getting more than 30 FPS, and that's on the lowest settings. That's like on like PS3 graphics or maybe even PS2 graphics. So I feel like that's more for people who just casually play when they're on vacation. Someone who just because they have a LCD version, which I think it's actually they're not making it no more. I would recommend getting the OLED. You get way more battery life, way more. I think it's like 30-40% increase, and you get an OLED screen for the nice blacks. And I had a Steam Deck that was actually my first handheld, and I actually returned it back, and I will talk about what I returned it for. I actually returned it, and then I got the MSI Claw, then I got this and that, which I'm gonna talk about later on in this video. But the Steam Deck, definitely A. It's probably one of the best top three out of all the handhelds I'm showing you guys, the best feeling on your hands, hands down. The Steam Deck. It's light. Um, Steam Deck 2 is not coming out until 2028. Makes perfect sense because there's no real improvements in the chips, so there's no real incentive for Valve to make a Steam Deck 2. And if they were to make it now, you probably only see like a 20% increase in performance. I think Valve said they want to at least see a 50% before they release a new Steam Deck 2. So yeah, hold your horses if you're waiting for a Steam Deck 2. That's not going to come out for a while. Also, you have the Steam Machine, which is coming out, I believe, this year within the next couple months. So yeah, Valve's not going to be focusing on the Steam Deck 2 for quite some time. You could find a Steam Deck OLED on third-party Facebook Marketplace offer up. I've seen people sell it for $400. I think $400 is a total steal. Valve has it on the website. You could get refurbished ones, but they never go on sale. Like I was trying to get one. I think it's like $439 for a refurbished OLED one, and I waited 3 months and I just didn't find it, so I just gave up on that. I just bought a brand new one. So yeah, Steam Deck OLED guaranteed. I'm putting this A. Now for the LCD one, that has louder fan noise, worse battery life, which is going to slightly affect the performance, just slightly. I'd probably put that B, but I don't have the LCD one. But yeah, OLED definitely goes A just for the value, the feeling of your hands, all the things above. I'm gonna go with the Switch One. You could get a Switch One for about $150. I think that's a total steal. Now, obviously, I would not buy a Switch One brand new for $300. A total ripoff. Might as well just put $100 more and get a Switch Two. But the Switch One classic, so many games, classic, bro. Mario Kart, Switch, Super Smash Bros. All those games are still active online, and I think like I said, if you could get an OLED for $150 or less, I've seen deals go for like 120 on Facebook Marketplace offer up. I think that's a steal. Like if you're just someone who wants a handheld but doesn't really care for like Steam, doesn't care for like PC gaming, you don't maybe don't have a backlog on it. I feel like the best thing you could introduce somebody is like a Steam Switch One OLED. Okay, yes, the games have terrible, like if it's not a first party game, it's like 20 30 FPS, graphics are like 540p 720p. It's terrible, but once again, for $150 you really can't complain. And that's why I would say if someone wants to get into the handheld and you want a super cheap one, I say get the ROG Ally, the white version one. I think this one goes for super cheap, right? Okay, so that's that for the Switch 2. A lot of people are not gonna like this, guys. The Switch 2, as of 2026. Okay, this is January 1st, January 5th. I'm gonna put this D, man. And I'm a day one buyer for Switch 2, guys. I'm a day one buyer. Okay, I bought it for the simple fact to play Mario Kart World. Mario Kart is a top 5 game of all time. Debate somebody else, okay? But Mario Kart World flopped. And the reason why it flopped for me, because I do not like 4 laps and I do not like 24 people in a map. It's just too hectic and it's just too crazy. Now, what saved Mario Kart World, I got in about 60 hours before I threw in the towel, was knockout mode. Knockout mode was super fun. So if it wasn't for knockout mode, total flop. Switch 2, battery life, horrible. Hands on your feeling, terrible. No games other than like a few Donkey Kong and like whatever those games are, but nah, yeah, I'm putting that D tier, bro. Yeah, putting the D tier. Third party games run like crap, 30 FPS. Still like it's really like a Switch One Pro, but with no games other than like 2 games. I mean, just like I said, guys, I'm a day one buyer for Switch 2, man. I was so excited for that, but it flopped. I would rather buy a Switch One than the Switch 2 right now. If I could go back in time, I just get the Switch One OLED and just play first party games. That's what I do. Legion to Go 1, the OG one. I did not like this. I did not like this handheld at all. Where am I gonna put this? Now, you could get this for about $400. Dang, I'm gonna put it between C and D. Oh man, I'm probably gonna put this D because you got the Go S now. So yeah, I'm gonna put this D tier. I'm gonna put this high D. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna put a D tier. One, it feels horrible in your hands for like 10, 15 minutes. It does have 144 hertz on the screen. It does have VRR. Performance is like I guess you have a Go S now, and I don't feel there's no reason to buy the OG one. Now, one thing about the OG one, you can get battery mods to make the battery life last longer, so that's cool. Um, but for the price point, no, I mean you could probably find steals on this. I remember seeing Best Buy have like open boxes for like 360. So after taxes, you're paying about 400. Maybe on Facebook Marketplace, you might find it cheaper. I don't know. I never seen deals on that. Maybe you could find it though. But I wouldn't recommend a Legion Go OG, the first one. Yeah, I just it's super. I wouldn't say it's super outdated, but like I said, you have the Go S now. Like, what's the point of buying that? The Go S is better everything, right? Um, Outside of the battery life, because you could get battery mod on that, and then obviously. So, yep, I'm gonna put that D tier. MSI, MSI Claw 8 AA or 8 AI. My bad. Plus, I own this. This is my second handheld. I'm gonna put this. I'm gonna put this B, bro. Yeah, I'll put this high B. I'll put it high B. I'll put the MSI Claw 8 AI plus high B. I did not like it. For one, now I came in with like, oh, this is Intel. I had a bad experience with Intel with the CPUs. Oh, it was an absolute nightmare. I had the 13 generation one went bad. Long story, but Intel did a really good job with the MSI Claw 8, but there's a lot of things that made me return it. One, the thumbsticks are way too loose. Playing Call of Duty, Battlefield, any FPS games, it's just too hard to aim. Yes, it's still playable, but it's just like, dude, it was so annoying. There's no fixes around it. So that was a hard no for me. Other thing too, once again, the comfortability. After about like 5-10 minutes of playing, it's like kind of it's a heavy machine, and it just kind of like, and I have big hands, so it's like I didn't like that aspect too. Performance wise, I think it's probably one of the best performing handhelds. That's what, for that alone, that's why I had to put it high B. The performance wise really good. Now there are some games on Intel drivers are not, they do not run well, or they don't run at all. 2K26 did not run. They maybe fix it now. It was always giving me low VRAM. Madden 26 played terrible too. The FPS online, it was so unstable. I was getting 35 then 50. It just was unenjoyable. There's a few other games too, but performance wise, it was. I remember I was playing Call of Duty on it. I was getting like 90 FPS. Like, so, if you could find this for like $700 or less, then yeah, it's a great deal. I think right now I saw on eBay there's a refurbished one. It's a really good deal, 839. I mean, I think the MSRP for a brand new one is at 1100, which to me that's a rip off. No OLED. If you're paying that much, you gotta get OLED. If you're paying up more than $1,000 for a handle, it gotta come with OLED, bro. Um, I did the screen is nice. Everything was good about that part. The software was super buggy. The MSI Center, it just was super buggy and laggy. I just was not a fan of it. Also, you're locked to Windows on it, on the MSI Claw 8. At the time I'm making this video, there's no way to get Steam OS on it. I just didn't like it. So we got to get something on the S tier, and I'm gonna give it to Legion Go 2. The OLED. I know it's expensive, but I gotta give that. If you have the bread to spend on a handle, the reason why I didn't get that is because I already have like a pretty beefy PC, and I don't need like a beefy handheld. I don't really be on my handheld like that. But like on the go, like I just got back from vacation, so it was nice to have a little like portability with my, games on the go. And I have the Go S right now. I have the Legion Go S. I have the cheap version. I have the Z2 Go 16 gigabytes of RAM, and it doesn't me justice. I'll rate that in a bit. But Legion Go 2, you could take off the controls, whatever, just like the Switch 2 or Switch 1. That's super cool. I probably wouldn't use it as much. I do like that it also has like, you could like lay it down. You don't need a case on it, like a Switch 2. OLEDs look amazing on that screen. It looks beautiful. Comfortability is a lot better than a Go 1, but it's still there after about these big handhelds. 8.8-inch screen, beautiful, but all that comes with it's going to be heavier, beefy, so it could weigh down on you for a long period of time. But overall, I think that's the best handheld right now, value wise, performance wise, all that type of wise, right? So I'm gonna give it to Legion Go 2 OLED. They are coming out with a Steam OS version, and I think they said by June or May or something like that, before summer of this year. So that's gonna be really good, right? Now let's also talk about the GDP Win 5. This handheld's going for $2,000, bro. Um, Dude, for the price, bro, I'm gonna put this low B, right? Just because like $2,000 for a handheld, no, why? I mean, hey, if you got it like that, and if you're like a handheld, like you just collect handhelds and stuff like that, I get it, but $2,000 for a handheld, bro, it's hard to justify. I did look at the specs, beast. I mean, you could probably say this is probably the best performing handheld wise. It does look like a PSP, which is cool. I like that about that. So I'm pretty sure it's gonna feel good on your hands. But just the price point just makes me like kind of throws me off. 2,000, like nah. The Legion Go 2 S tier is 1,300, but I see open boxes at Best Buy for 1,100 all the time where I'm at, and that's absolute steal. And Legion always puts their handhelds on sale too. Like they always put their handhelds on sale. So for that alone, I think it's worth it. 2,000 for a handheld, that's too much. Xbox Ally X. Ooh, a lot of y'all not gonna like this, bro. A lot of y'all are not going to like this. But I'm gonna put the Xbox Ally X. I'm gonna put a B tier, bro. I think Xbox Ally X is another overpriced handheld. The only thing that it has going for it is it's probably the best comfortability handheld because of the Xbox controller. That's the only thing that it has. So that's why I probably put it. I don't know if I could put it above the MSI Claw 8. They both cost the same. You could find cheaper deals on the MSI Claw a lot more because it's been out longer. I'm gonna put the Claw above it. Once you play handheld on an 8-inch screen, it is super hard to go back to 7-inch. And that's the reason why I'm putting this B tier. Why did Asus Xbox make this a 7-inch screen? I feel like they cheaped out and they wanted just to reuse a screen that they already had from their older models. And they're most likely not this year, but next year come out with the Xbox Ally X2, and it's gonna be 8-inch screen. It's gonna be OLED, and this is gonna be super outdated, just like this has got super outdated. You can get this for $200. I'm pretty sure by the end of next year, or when the new one ever comes out, this is probably gonna be like $400, $500, right? That means the value of your handheld went down 50%, or if not more, within 2 years. Okay, Switch 1 held its value really well. Switch 2 is holding this value really well. Legion Go 2 is hard to find. People are reselling it for higher than MSRP used. Steam Deck still, I see people are stingy with that Steam Deck, right? So that's the only thing I like about the Xbox Ally X. Once again, it's the most comfortable feeling on your hand. But the 7-inch screen is I can't. Once you play on an 8-inch screen, bro. Playing like a shooting game or any game on a 7-inch screen. There's some games you could get away with. Indie games you could get away on a 7-inch screen, but overall, I can't. I can't. The chip on it's good, but once again, I would rather get the claw. Like I'd rather get a claw before I even think of getting the Xbox Ally X. The price point, $1,000. You got the Xbox tax on it. So outdated screen. It should be no more than $799 in my opinion. So $1,000, you're paying the Xbox tax. Just not a fan of it. Just my personal preference. Okay, the MSI Claw 7, kind of outdated now. You could find deals on this, but I mean it's outdated, bro. There's no reason to get this now when you can get there's so much better options for cheaper price. So I'm gonna be putting this on the D tier. Yeah, putting that on the D tier. Now the Legion Go S, I'm not being biased. Okay, now this doesn't matter if it's Z2. So Z2 and the Z1 1E, there's like about a 5 to 7 FPS, maybe even less difference on the two devices. And some people may say, oh, the 32 gigabytes, you probably only get like 1 or 2 FPS from that. A lot of games don't even push past 13 gigabytes. There are some games that do. Final Fantasy pushes past, I think it's like 12 VRAM. So depending on your games you play, I think 16 gigabytes is more than enough. If you are a casual, if you're not really playing your handheld like that, you could just get the Z2. I mean, I can't really justify paying $300 more to get 5, 6 FPS more. I mean, to each their own. But so this is just for the Z2 or the Z1E. I feel like this is handheld S tier, and Legion has been doing their thing, bro. They've been doing the thing with the handheld market, constantly pushing out new material, new content, new updates. Um, they are the winners of 2025 in terms of the handheld market, and we'll see. Who wins 2026. Obviously, ain't gonna be Valve. It's not gonna be um, Asus this year. They lost last year because I don't think they're gonna make an Xbox LX this year too. That doesn't make sense. So yeah, I don't see that happening. But yeah, that's pretty much. Oh, you also have. I'm not gonna count the streaming handhelds. I'm not gonna count that because yeah, that's not a PC get really gaming handheld. This is a streaming one, so I'm not gonna really count that. But this is like really the main ones right here. Now, once again, the Switch 2, if Nintendo does improvements, better games, affordability. The third party games get better over time because they start to function with they start to know how to handle the Nintendo software. There's games like Monster Hunter Wild that got delayed, Elden Ring got delayed on the Nintendo Switch, Borderlands got delayed. So many games I could think of got delayed because the games can't run on the Switch 2. It's not powerful enough. And I feel like Nintendo got greedy, they got lazy, and they rushed out a product and yeah, they let us a lot of us Nintendo fans down. But they can redeem themselves. Okay, they can redeem themselves and go to a B tier. Okay, I feel like they can. So far, it's not looking good, but you know, and all these other old handhelds are kind of like they're old. Once again, I would recommend Steam OS on a handheld. But if you're going to Xbox AliX because you're on Team Xbox, trust me, I was that person too. I know a lot of people are like they're rolling with the Xbox AliX. All right, just understand that 7 inches on the hand. I'm 32. The eyes, I'm the eyes just ain't. And yeah, and if you're thinking of getting an MSI Claw 8, the thumbsticks are just too loose, bro. Some people may like it, some people were cool with it, but for me, it was I had to let go. So yeah, this is my handheld. This is what I would recommend people to get. Unfortunately, Steam Deck is only A tier, but I can't put the MSI Claw 8 or higher than a B. Same thing with the Xbox LX. If the Xbox LX was an 8-inch screen, I'd put it A. But it's 7. So the Steam Deck OLED has a bigger screen than the Xbox LX. The Steam Deck OLED is 7.4, and the Xbox LX is 7-inch. It's just like, dude, it's 2026. Like, even though the Xbox LX came out in 2025, still, they could have put a bigger screen on it, man. And if that had a bigger screen, A tier for sure. It doesn't, so I'm putting it in a B. Switch 1, the value you can get this for, the OLED, you can get this for $150 total still. So much games you could play, bro. The only thing is Nintendo charges so much for their games. That's the only downfall. I do have a whole bunch of games on there, just like digital that I had for a long time. So if I ever go back to Nintendo, I can always just boot it back up. But I could understand people not wanting it for that. Games are like still like full price 7 years later. That's ridiculous. GDP 5, $2,000 for a handheld. But the performance wise and everything else, it's you got to put it at least B. So yep, that's what I have, guys. This is what I would recommend. Let me guys know what I'm missing. Let me know what you would change on this list. Some people may have the Steam Deck S tier, and hey, you could debate on that too. Some people may have the Xbox LX MSI Claw higher tier, and I totally understand that. If the MSI Claw 8 had Steam Deck or had Steam OS, I would maybe put it A tier, but it doesn't. Stuck with Windows. Like I said, guys, I started out with the Steam OS, the Steam Deck. I got the MSI Claw 8 Windows, and I was like, wow, I see why so much people want the Steam OS. Like, it's. I wish I never would have tried it. But yeah, if you guys are liking the content, want more material, want reviews, or anything like that, y'all hit that like button, y'all hit that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments below. I love you guys. Peace out.